Is The Division 2 a groundbreaking, next-level experience? No. Is it a fun game that you could sink many hours into this spring? Yes, it is. My name is Troy Harrison Chriest, drop a like, and welcome to my 4K PC review of Tom Clancy's The Division 2. The first thing we are going to chat about is probably the first thing that you will notice. This game is pretty. If you have a rig that is capable of playing it in 4K 60 FPS, you are in for a treat. The environmental design shows a tremendous improvement, replacing the dark, snowy streets of New York with a bright, overgrown, and dangerous DC. Their website quotes, "Unlike anything before it, The Division 2's Washington, D.C. is a one-to-one representation of the real city, making the game world more authentic than ever." Much like previous Ubisoft titles before it, Massive Games went out of their way to make the most realistic recreation of their chosen location, and they did a fantastic job. The next note in the graphics section that I want to talk about is the lighting. While inconsistent at times, The Division 2 will often surprise you at how beautiful some of these areas really look. Powered by the Snowdrop engine, they navigate the balance of saturation and contrast very well. Sometimes you'll walk into a room after being outside and you'll get this gorgeous glow of lights and shadows that tend to make me smile. However, not everything is fun to look at. Ubisoft is one of the best at creating incredible open worlds, but when it comes to characters, they are barely a notch above Bethesda. Maybe it's because their games tend to focus on combat mechanics and not the story, but to me it seems like they did not take enough time with the models and textures of NPCs. The people you talk to look flat and almost like plastic. Everything is smooth and you do not get that amount of facial detail that we have seen in other recent games. It could also be that we spend 90% of the time shooting things and 10% engaging with our comrades. So maybe they didn't feel it was necessary to have beautiful people to look at. Yes, the world looks amazing, but the characters do not. The last part of the graphics section that I think we should talk about is the performance. I have played two different versions so far, the E3 2018 demo on an Xbox One X and the PC beta on my custom rig. The Xbox version looked crispy and well rendered on the One X. The only thing that I noticed about it was it seemed to be running at 30 FPS. If you buy the Division 2 on any console, expect 30 frames per second, just like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. As far as PC performance goes, I was getting 60 frames at 1080p Ultra on one of my 1070s. They do not have two GPUs working during the beta, so I could not play it in 4K. SLI support has not been confirmed yet, but Ubisoft has been known to use both of our cards in the past with games like Rainbow Six Siege and Watch Dogs 2. But once again, Assassin's Creed Odyssey did not have this feature. So don't be surprised if I have to make an SLI fix day one. Also, The Division 2 is very processor intensive. If you have a 4-core CPU like me, you may have a few problems getting 60 FPS. This is mainly because Ubisoft has shifted from working with Nvidia on optimizing their games to AMD. Since the Red Team is pushing out so many cheap 6+ core CPUs, the game focuses on that platform, so keep that in mind, Intel and Nvidia users. Enough about the bells and whistles, let's get to the meats and potatoes. Troy, is this game fun to play? Yes, person who watches reviews, yes it is. I have been awfully critical of recent booty shooters like Anthem, aka action-adventure games with bad design in the past, but for whatever reason, I really enjoy The Division 2. The original Division was a very bullet-spongy game, often taking over a minute to deal with an opponent. But the new one takes a lot of notes from its predecessor and drastically lowers the time to kill. It speeds up the gunplay and pushes you to the next objective much quicker, keeping the player stuck in for a lot longer. As far as mission design goes, do not expect to be blown away by anything presented to you. We do not make decisions that decide what is going to happen. You are not saving anyone from extinction. You get told to help someone, you go there, you shoot a lot of people, you click F on a thing, and then you leave. Is it revolutionary for the gaming industry? Nope, no it is not. Is it fun to do? That depends on you. In other games, I would have a huge problem with this repetitive loop. The reason it doesn't bother me here is motivation. It has this system where you can gather materials and donate them to a certain safe zone, then upgrade it to help the characters who live there. I don't know about you, but I'm a sucker for people who need my help in video games. Donate to this camp of criminals who don't actually like you. Sure, max upgrades please. Travel through a Mass Effect relay to stop an alien invasion from destroying our galaxy. Yeah, let's do that. How about help thousands of people use their second graphics card? Yeah, that sounds like fun. I'll do that for hours. So when the Division 2 showed me that I can upgrade a safe zone in DC to have a rooftop barbecue and a game room for the children, I don't know why I cared. But I wanted those NPC kids to be able to play The Witcher and eat hamburgers. My brain said, do this. Do this now. So after a few days of not being able to play it, it's really the only game I can think about. Something else that comes to my mind that could be a deciding factor of you buying it or not is variety. Many developers today will find the smallest amount of gameplay variation that they can ship, and then they slowly leak out the rest as DLCs to get players coming back. We have already talked about mission variety, and we know that it's not the best, but when it comes to gunfight combos, Massive Games went above and beyond. Instead of having one broad class that could be customized, they added 3 unique endgame specializations to fit anybody's playstyle. As soon as you hit level 30, you can focus any of these gameplay branches. To start it off, we have the Sharpshooter, which, you guessed it, is very proficient at sniping. Next, we have the Demolitionist, who trains with explosives and fire. And finally, for anybody looking to stay alive, be stealthy, and do a lot of weapon damage, try the Survivalist, who can also unlock the unique class weapon, a crossbow. When it comes to customizing those specs, there is a stupid amount of gadgets to play around with. If I ran through all of them, you would fall asleep. So here are some noteworthy options. Check out the Reviver, the Turret, the Seeker Mine, the Incinerator, and the Artillery Strike, to name a few. Yes, the gadgets are fun to use, but how does the game feel? Interesting question, review watcher. The movement, evading, sprinting, and cover system feels almost identical, if not a little faster, than the first game. The one problem during the gameplay that really bothers me is that the AI of the enemies are not that smart. Sometimes you can walk 4 feet in front of them and then shoot them, and they never see you. Sometimes they work harder than me in a game of Battlefield to flank. The one thing that stands out is the distance. Something in the game programs them to not notice you until you're about like 2 feet in front of them, or start shooting. I would love to see improvements on the enemy intelligence moving forward. Besides that, I really like the gameplay, and I think you might as well. Also, we gotta talk about the Dark Zone. It makes another return to the Division 2. I didn't get to play a ton of it, but expect it to be just as much fun and a lovely break from the PvE grind. Before we get into the story section, let's take a quick moment to listen to the audio.
Launching grenade!
Like the insane amount of gadgets in the Division 2, the audio blueprint is also vastly impressive. They also have these super low-key mood-setting tones that sound inspired by Mass Effect like every OST that comes out, and they also have a fantastic way of not repeating itself. When it comes to the weapons, once again, Massive added an alluring mixture of combat noises. The ACR doesn't vibrate the same as the AKM, and I appreciate the quality audio range they added to the game. However, there is one big audio problem that really grinds my gears. It is, once again, Ubisoft has failed to hire talented voice actors. I don't know if it's because they are French-Canadian and can't tell when somebody is saying something incorrectly, but my god, why does every Ubi game have to be ruined by either boring writing or terrible performances? Playing through the last Assassin's Creed had my Greek family laughing hysterically. It's like they never went to Seattle, aka New Athens, and had a lamb gyro. They had no idea what a Greek sounded like. I have no idea what a DC accent sounds like. I guess it's a amalgamation of Boston, Jersey, and New York. But the voice actors in this game are not on the same page, chapter, or even the same book. They're just, I don't know, I don't want to listen to any of them. So yeah, once again, Ubisoft sucks at voices, and that leads me into our last section, the story. I have a big problem with games that expect me to care about anyone or the person that I am playing if the developer can't even take the time to add in a voiced protagonist. When you play The Witcher 3, Arkham City, or Halo, you stop for a second and think, wow, I wish I had that voice. Jesus Christ. It makes you bond with the character. I'm a YouTube partner who literally gets paid to write and talk. Playing a video game where I can't say anything immediately makes me disconnect from the narrative. In Skyrim, did you rush to save the world from dragons, or did you make iron daggers for 10 hours? A lot of that had to do with not being engaged with the story. The Division 2, like other booty shooters, has 0 reasons for me to care about the story. I can't engage with my environment, I can't make decisions, I just go places and shoot things. But for whatever reason, I don't care. Why is that? The Division 2 is a lot of fun. You might like it, maybe you won't. Hopefully I have logically laid out the pros and cons of buying the Division 2. I think it's worth the buy, but always look for a discount. The Division 2, a brand new booty shooter set in DC, developed by Massive Games and published by Ubisoft, gets 3.5 shiny new weapons out of 5. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to THC. Have a good one. Peace.